Hey guys, it's Jamin Coker with Secure Financial Management. I'm here with our next video in this series that we've been doing, just sharing our thoughts and answering some questions a lot of people have asked us. So likely you're having the same questions, and that's what our goal is over this next few series of videos that we're doing. And today, as the title suggests, we're going to talk about, can I lose all my money? And I think it's a very relevant question when you see what's been going on with the markets recently. I think in general people don't have that concern. They know the market and their investments can fluctuate a little bit here and there. You'll have some good days, some bad days. But with what's happened in the last several weeks, and we have these breathtakingly down days where we're down to 3,000 points, and it goes again and again, and you've seen your investments just go down. Mine, yours, our clients, it starts to beg the question, all right, where does this stop? And am I in a situation where it just goes to zero, right? So I'm going to answer those questions today. And what I view my role as here is not to actually just come out and tell you yes, no. I want to educate you and explain how it works. And that way, the more knowledge you have, my hope at least, is that you'll start to feel a little bit more in control and understand a little bit more about what's going on. Now, when we say, can I lose all my money? The true answer is, it really depends how you're invested, right? And what I say with that is I'm starting to talk about a concept that you've probably heard of before called diversification. And it's really going to depend how you're diversified. Now, if you have your investment set up where you have a portfolio and you have one stock in that portfolio, or two or three, or whatever it might be, your portfolio is what we call, it's highly concentrated. When we say highly concentrated, we mean that if you have one stock, you have everything invested in that one company. Your fate and the return of your portfolio is tied to that one company. If you have two, obviously, if it's evenly split, then it's two different companies, 50%, and so on, right? And you've heard the notion of not putting all your eggs in one basket, and this is what it comes down to, is diversification and how you're split up. Now, the chances of one company or two companies going out of business obviously is much higher than a basket or a group of companies going out of business. So your diversification in times like this is key, and you want to be diversified out amongst as many businesses or many companies and positions as possible, because you want to avoid that concentration risk. So just for example, right, we were reviewing one of our investment portfolios just the other day in the office here, and we're going through and we're like, all right, with all these different positions and ETFs and bond funds and different things we have in there, how many companies are we diversified out through? And when we look at that and you add everything up, it's over 1,000 different companies. So our client might log in and they'll see 15 different positions of ETFs and bonds, or however it is that they're set up. But underneath each one of those positions are hundreds of different other companies. Let me give you an example that I think will make it the simplest for you to understand. The S&P 500, as you've heard of, is a huge index. There's the S&P, there's the Dow, there's the NASDAQ, and the S&P is called the S&P 500. Now, the key there is in its name. There's a reason it's called the S&P 500. It's made up of 500 different companies, and lots of different companies that you would have heard of, and you likely use products from every day, right? It might be companies like Apple or Nike or Johnson & Johnson or CVS or Walmart, whatever it might be. A lot of different companies, 500 different companies are making up that index. Now, if you compare a portfolio that has one stock or two stocks in it versus a portfolio, let's just say it only had the S&P 500, which you should be even more diversified than that, but let's just say it only had the S&P 500. It's made up of 500 different companies. So your risk is spread out amongst 500 different companies rather than that one or two or three that you might have in an individual equity portfolio. Now, when things like this happen, that S&P 500, it's gone down. If you were invested in the S&P 500, it's also gone down. But what you've got there is that you've got 500 different companies. Will some of those companies not survive this event? Maybe. That's very possible, right? That we've got some companies inside of that S&P 500 that don't survive this market downturn or this economic event, and they get bought by a different company or they merge with a different company. But you've got 500 different companies, right? Back in our concentrated portfolio, we've got one company, we've got two, whatever it is. If one of those companies don't survive, right, that's half of our portfolio maybe. If we've got two stocks, 50-50 in each, one of them goes down, that's half of our portfolio. So the key to answering the question of, hey, am I going to wake up and with the speed this thing is going down, I'm going to wake up and I'm at zero one day? The key is diversification. How are you set up in your portfolio, and are you spread out? Do you not have all your eggs in one basket? Guys, I hope this has helped. Always remember that any of the topics we discuss here should not be considered recommendations. If you got any questions about your personal portfolio or any of your investments that you're holding, please give us a call at the office, 210-428-6250. We'd be happy to speak with you.